Persona openings. They're awesome and we're gonna rank them. This is gonna be a very different style of production today, so here I got my good friend Jessie. Both of us are massive Persona fans, so why don't we just review all of the intros? So tell us, Jessie, what's your overall experience with Persona and your knowledge on these openings?
So for me personally, I got into Persona in 2020. My first game was 5, and yeah, I've played most of the games, but it's been a long time, and when I say a long time, it's been like nearly 3 years since I've touched the Q games and Persona 1 and the 2 duology.
Honestly, that's just gonna make this a lot more interesting then. As many of you are aware, I have played all of the mainline games not too long ago, and hear their songs pretty frequently, so I kinda know these intros like the back of my hand. So the way this is gonna work is we'll just go over the intro with some commentary from each of us and give them an overall score. We're ranking things like the visuals, the respective representation of the game's themes, and just how good the music is. If you guys want to see more tier lists like this, be sure to subscribe and also support our Patreon. With that out of the way, on to...
So this is the PSP intro.
Yeah, the PS1 version does have an intro, kinda, but this is really where they solidified the whole opening idea.
I fuck with this heavy. I like this. I don't like the visuals. It reminds me of Little Big Planet. On a music level, I like this intro, but when it comes to the visuals, I'm very you know what I mean? I'm iffy on it.
It definitely feels like the most experimental of these intros, because you know, Persona 1 kinda has a little bit of a theme, but it kinda doesn't at the same time. So they really just put a lot of gameplay footage, like the cutscenes.
Well, you gotta take into consideration when this came out, right? This is Persona, the Persona remakes, like Persona 1, 2, and 3 Portable, those versions of the game. This is a post P4 world where Persona 4 is doing really well. And so they kind of wanted to remake these games in the image of Persona 4, like how Reload is made in the image of Royal. I mean, for me personally, this is I place this B tier, A tier. I think this is a pretty good intro. I like its song a lot more than its visuals, and I think it would be an A tier if the visuals didn't look so uncanny. I get that that's the atmosphere that they're going for, but I'd like to hear your opinions.
I personally really like this intro simply because it just goes back to what I said about Persona 1. It has that unique charm of being eerie and almost scary, but combines it with things like Persona 4's music style. The visuals, I love them. For a game they had to specifically make a style for it that was unique to Persona 1, this was great. For those reasons, I'm giving this an A tier.
I'm okay with A tier. For me, this is a B tier, because I know that there's some pretty strong S's and some pretty strong A's, and I like this one, but I don't think it's one of my favorite intros, but that's just my opinion.
Honestly, seeing these intros alone really just shows how different in tone and style Persona 1 and 2 are. They feel almost a lot more mature, if you ask me.
I think this song is pretty cool, and I like the visuals because it's that early 2000s anime style that they went with. The song feels a little all over the place, but I think it's good.
I mean, it's a good intro. I don't think it's anything too crazy. It definitely has that Persona 4 influence as well as Persona 1's.
The original. When it comes to Persona's PS2 era anime cutscenes and things like that, if you look at it, it's such a cool thing. To me, this is another B tier.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that, and I really liked your point about how early 2000s Persona 1 all the way to 4 are. They really know how to capture the charm of the time, and I think that's a big reason why a lot of people love Persona in the first place. It's almost like a time capsule, right?
It's a period piece. It's art of its time. If you look at for example, Persona 5's animated cutscenes, it's way higher budget and way more modern of an anime style compared to this that 90s to early 2000s just anime style that was really serialized.
Absolutely. It's an all-around great intro. Is it better than Persona 1's? Not really, but it still symbolizes the game and what you're going to experience really well. Persona 2 is a very all-over-the-place game, but in a very good way. So between Innocent Sin and Eternal Punishment, this one I definitely say it feels the more mature between the two. Everything feels bigger and serious with the orchestral track.
Yo, it's the blimp! That's the most plot-relevant character in Persona 2. It's the blimp.
RIP to the blimp.
Once again, it's that anime style that they went with. It's just visually, it's so appealing. The song, I get that it's like supposed to be representative of like stakes are higher, but like just because a game has more agency doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't need like a good song. In comparison to what I know is going to come, this is like a good intro visually. It's very serious and it's orchestral, but it's not for me. So I'm putting this in C tier.
Definitely, like the stakes, like I said earlier, they're much higher, so they really want to amp up those visuals. But I will admit, of all the songs, this might actually be the most forgettable, because there really isn't anything that's sticking out too much for me. For those reasons, I'll give it a C tier. I just don't feel it's that memorable as a whole, in my opinion. Alright, so we're finally...
Oh! 10 out of 10! S tier!
Alright. Alright, so we're finally on to the modern intros here, the Hashino era, as I like to call it. Look guys, as much as I am known to hate Persona 3, I will admit, this is a very good intro. Like, this is when you can tell they really wanted to establish a certain art style for each of these games.
So like the usage of like silhouettes and like the way like the usage of silhouettes and like discolored characters and like monochrome is just so awesome. This style, Persona 3 set a new standard. Persona 1 and 2 are like spin-off SMT games, and that's what Persona was supposed to be. But Persona 3 was when Persona became its own thing. The song is really good. It's symbolic of the journey of the protagonist. It's just overall 10, 10, 10, 10 everywhere.
True. I personally like Portable's opening a little more, but either way, Persona 3's intro is just iconic. I may not like Persona 3 compared to the other games, but I can't deny that it's such a good intro. Peak fiction. Video game stores, back in the early 2000s, they used to have like a PS2 or GameCube setup, and they would play the intros to video games. Imagine you walk into a game store and you hear this song and you see these visuals and you're like, God damn, I want to play this game. When it comes to the intro, the whole using gameplay footage and cutscenes, I personally don't have a problem with it. I don't know what's the general consensus of this intro in regards to that. From what I've seen, people don't like it because they feel like it's lazy, but it's like, nah, this is like the re-release. Like they showed off like what's new to the game. Like if it was just like another animated cutscene, it really wouldn't tell players like what's new about this game. Absolutely. Like this intro does a fantastic job at that. For that purpose alone, and also the song is pretty good, I'm giving it an S tier. I'm also putting it an S tier. I always thought it really interesting how they decided to make another version of Persona 3, but I guess it just goes to show how popular it was. This is what I'm talking about when we were talking about the 3 intro originally. Like this intro like expands on it, and what's cool as well is if you flip your PSP upside down, the intro is like on the female protagonist. Yeah, honestly, it just might be my favorite opening for 3. It really feels like the best depiction of everything we've gone through up to this point. The use of its art style is really clean and well made. And it's also a really good song. I listen to it pretty often. I like that it took the original and it expanded upon it. And the whole thing about like being able to flip it upside down and it being like a completely different intro, it's cool. S tier. Yeah, S tier for me. Oh, finally, we're in Persona 4. This is what I'm talking about. The atmosphere, the aesthetic, everything. This is imagine like going on the anime channel on your TV on a Sunday morning. Turn it on, you're about to watch an anime. It turns out it's not an anime, it's a video game. Persona 4, in my opinion, is the most 2000s game you will ever play. And this intro it's awesome. Just symbolizes that. I love the song. I love the intro. I love the aesthetics. I love the date that's on, like the dates and stuff that's on screen. And then like it gives you a preview of each character in the context of where like the people would see them around the world. Like Yukiko's on TV because she works at the inn. Risei's an idol, so she's on TV. Naoto's being interviewed because she's a detective. Teddy's inside the TV doing goofy shit. Tarot cards, Persona, Izanagi! It's awesome! So, based from our reactions, as you can tell, we're easily ranking this up to super S tier. Pursue my true self. Pursuing the truth and being true to yourself is a consistent theme, not only in the investigation in Persona 4, but facing your shadow self,
and always like looking beyond the surface. The intro is the culmination of the game. Cool style with a really good song. It's peak.
Like I said many, and I mean many times, Persona 4 is like my favorite game in the series. I mean, there's no doubt I'm gonna rank this high, but really, the visuals and overall themes covered here are spot on. Pursuing My True Self is a banger song. So yeah, S tier.
This intro is so happy and fun, and I know it doesn't necessarily give the same aesthetics as Pursue Your True Self. The song is still really good and really symbolic of the story, and I think this suits the atmosphere and tone of the game more than Pursue Your True Self in the sense of like the general goofiness. I've seen people complain about the fact of that, like, you can see dead bodies of like important characters, but who's actually going to remember what the dead bodies look like in this? But yeah, like, it shows the motorbikes and all that kind of stuff. That's new content. The ski trip, that's new content. Like, it perfectly encapsulates the new content, the new style, the new release. Just amazing.
Where do I begin? Persona 4 Golden is a very special game to me. This game not only was technically my first ever Persona game, it got me through one of the hardest times in my entire life. Even before I got the chance to play it, I always listened to Shadow World on repeat. It is without a doubt one of my favorite songs in the entire franchise. That's not even mentioning the visuals, the very happy-go-lucky vibes. It's just a masterpiece.
People on Twitter really don't like the harmonica.
Whoever says that, I mean, I can understand your concern, but like, come on, the harmonica goes hard.
Fun police, woo, woo, woo. But yeah, for me, this is S tier.
Obligatory YouTuber intro.
The original intro to Persona 5, the orchestra, the violins, the monochromatic, like the red, it looks like the Virtual Boy. It's awesome. Like, this is cool. I like this. The culmination of style and aesthetic that was leading up to this point. You know, you had like Persona 3, it had its style, but it wasn't fully like animated. It was a lot of like cut-ins and pictures and things like that. And Persona 4 was like an early 2000s aesthetic. This is its own picture book, monochromatic. It's style. It bleeds style.
That's the really cool thing when you think about it. Like, Persona 5 doesn't take any inspiration from any other style. It really defined one on its own, and that's very, very admirable.
It's its own thing.
As a designer, someone who took inspiration from these games, I'm impressed with how much they were able to accomplish here.
What I like about this intro as well is that it doesn't really tell you much about the game. You see Haru Makoto sat in the chair in that room with Futaba, but you don't learn anything about these characters. For the original Persona 5 intro, it's very much so like style. I would place this below Persona 4, but after Persona 3.
It's also an S tier for me. Just everything about it is perfect, and there's really no denying that. Major props to the designers.
There was nothing more disappointing to me than opening up Persona 5 Royal for the first time and not hearing Wake Up, Get Up, Get Out There.
I definitely will say I feel a little underwhelmed by this intro. I remember when the trailer for this game came out, I was jaw-dropped by how awesome it looked, and when I'm seeing this intro, like, yeah, this is the whole footage they used for the trailer. I would have loved it if they started with that instead of what we got.
I hate how it looks comic books. Like, at first it's kind of like a pop art style, and then it goes to like a more comic book style, and this looks like manga, but it's like, in the original, there was so much, like, it said so much with very little, but this is trying to be blatant of, like, let's reform society! These big buildings, or for the big corporations, are bad. Adults are bad. And it's like, it shows off the Phantom Thieves. You get an idea of their personality, and I get what they were trying to go for with this, like, pop art, manga, comic book art style. But what it tries to tell you is very tone deaf of what people enjoyed from the original Persona 5. Like, people like Wake Up, Get Up, Get Out There because it's like, it's got a good song, but it's so artistic. I feel like you could show Wake Up, Get Up, Get Out There to anyone and they'll be like, that's just a really cool animation. But this is like, you have to have an idea of Persona 5 and anime and manga and JRPGs to kind of get like an idea of like the art style and the artistic intent of this like its intro. I also hate the song, so it's going in D tier.
Yeah.
Based from what you told me in the past, I mean, I'm not surprised, but yeah, when it comes to his intro, I mean, I wouldn't call it like a crime to the world. It isn't the worst thing out there, but personally, even I'm a little underwhelmed by how this intro came out. I still do really like Colors Flying High though. Visually, I mean, I don't want to be too harsh on it, but I also don't think it's that good of an intro, so I'm gonna give this like a B tier.
Yes, it's the game that people keep requesting me to review, but I still haven't done it. Look, I'm not gonna crap on this intro too much. I personally don't have like some hatred for it, but I would at least admit I don't get that hype behind it. I see a lot of people saying this is the best intro of all time, when I just think it's a good intro. It's visually beautiful, it's pure eye candy, the song is good, but that's it. I mean, I just think it's a good intro.
Nah, like, it's fine. It's unoffensive. I think it's more anime opening than actual video game opening. It's giving, like, Blend-esque intro or whatever. Like, it's a lot more anime intro than video game intro. Like, this, it tries to hit the same beats as the original Wake Up, Get Up, Get Out There intro. Doesn't really do that fully. Tries to reference the original Burn My Dread intro by some of its lyrics and the way that they go about it. They get Lotus Juice, so that I guess that's, like, a reference to the Fest intro. And so it's like trying to be a culmination of all of the previous versions of Persona 3, but it's not. It's not a culmination of it. It's just Persona 3 for the 4th time.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna crap on this game, even though I'm sure a lot of you guys clicked because of the thumbnail used. But honestly, I don't think this intro is necessarily bad per se, rather it's just overhyped. The song is easily the best part, it's really catchy and upbeat. The visuals are pure eye candy, I like them. But I see so many people praise this intro like it's the best thing to come out of Atlas. Like, it's not. But as a whole, it's still great. It's a really good intro, so I'm giving it like a B tier.
Oh, the style.
Finally, we're back to the 2000 style again.
I love seeing the Persona 3 characters aged up in this intro too. It's so sick. This thing of Teddy though, walking, trying to look all serious, looks so fucking goofy. It just has a really high coolness factor when it's like something's just really badass. You see all the characters, you see these really cool action shots, you see like all these shots of like the characters and you're like, why are they fighting? What's going on? And it's like Persona 3 Fest had something similar where it showed like the cutscene of like Aigis fighting with like Akihiko or whatever. But like, imagine being a Persona 3 fan, right? Persona 4 Arena just came out. You put it in your console, you're watching this intro, and you see Mitsuru, Akihiko, and Aigis in this Persona 4 game. You're like, yo, what the fuck?
I won't call it anything too crazy. It definitely feels like a Persona 4 had like a massive budget increase. The animation is much more polished while still keeping the overall charm and aesthetic of what made the original so good. The song is pretty decent too. I don't listen to it too often, but in here, it sounds great, and the visuals are just full of action. I'm giving it an A tier.
Yo, it's Adachi!
Arena Ultimax, I don't like the song all too much, but I do like the way that they show characters with like the little splash screen. Like, it goes into that like fighting thing, wrestling. It like likes to go for this wrestling atmosphere thing, and it's showing off all the characters doing cool poses, showing their names. Because imagine like just buying this because it's a fighting game. Like, there's people that did that.
It's a lot slower paced compared to the last one.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, between the two, I'd say Arenas is slightly better, but I adore the crap out of this song. It just feels grand, but in Persona 4's own unique way.
I don't really like this one all too much because it focuses far more on just showing the characters rather than showing cool action shots like the original Arena did. But like, if the song is bumping it up for you, then fair enough. Yeah, like for me, this is a very C tier intro because it's like, it doesn't really do much. Like, it has the opportunity to show all these characters fighting each other, but instead it just like shows the characters, says their names, flashes through a couple of things from the story mode, and that's it.
Even with the minor issues I have, I don't know, I just just can't get myself to say it's bad. So for that, I'm giving it a B tier. Alright, so now we're getting to the Q games. We're going through the order based on the category of the spin-offs. We just went through the arena games, now we're in the Q duology, and then we'll be doing the dance games.
For a 3DS game, the amount of style, like, it's chibi obviously, and that's because of hardware limitations. But what they did with the hardware limitations and made it so cartoony, I love this intro. The song is so good, the visuals are so good.
Obviously, Arena was the first to actually introduce these franchises together, but this one definitely feels the most special in my opinion because it really they feel like they're trying to celebrate their history rather than, you know, having this huge epic battle with them, which I really like. I personally like it more when Persona tries to be a little more lighthearted and almost cartoony in a way, so this is a great opening. That's not to mention the chibi style, I love it. Yeah, for me this is probably another A tier. Imagine your first game being Persona Q2. Couldn't be me, right guys?
Joker just out here.
It looks so stupid.
Oh my gosh, Junpei, jump scare.
This visual there is cool of the different ways that they summon their personas. And showing off Orpheus Izanagi.
Oh yeah, this is just pure eye candy. Like, the cinematography aesthetic, it's amazing. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I genuinely have a soft spot for this game. I just love this intro to death. I have so many good memories just watching it when I first played this game. Having all these characters appearing, it just captures that feeling of it being a celebration. Of course, the charm isn't really there anymore because look at when this game released. But I still love it regardless. Easy A tier. I don't know, am I biased guys? Leave a comment down below.
I have no bias toward this game whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I'm very cynical toward this game. The intro itself, it's very artistic. I like the way that it foreshadows the crossover aspect. I mean, it's Persona Q. A lot of Persona fans knew there was going to be a crossover between 3, 4, and 5. As an intro, it's like really, I think it's kind of goofy with Joker like singing to himself. It's just funny. You see this cringy, like 68...
I think that was the intention. They wanted to kind of make it very goofy.
Yeah, it's like you see this cringy 60... Imagine like walking down the street at nighttime and you see some cringy 16-year-old with greasy black hair singing to himself and doing like arm movements as if he's like the main character. Looking at it that way, it makes for a good laugh. But overall, as an intro, I would put it just below Arena Ultimax in C tier. A callback to Pursue Your True Self. Here's another one. This is mocap. This right here, this is motion captured animation. It looks a little jittery and weird, but that's because it's real. This is real people being drawn over here. And that's cool.
Yeah, that explains a lot. I always felt like the animation here felt not like a downgrade per se, but like it didn't feel as high budget as Serena.
It's so cool.
But it definitely does benefit the game because look at these moves like Yukiko.
Yeah. Someone sat in a studio and did this. Like, a real person did that. It's so cool. Except Teddy. Wait! Yosuke, don't fall down! Oh no! You know what's funny is that, a Let's Player uploaded this intro, and the thumbnail is Yukiko and Chie bumping asses, and it's got the most amount of views for the intro.
No comment.
The song is so good. The portraits, the new dancing designs for these characters look so fucking cool. I love this game. I love this intro. I love the amount of effort that they went into to get mocap and anime over people doing this stuff. It is unbelievable amounts of effort, and that song is so good.
Absolutely, like of all of the spin-offs, I definitely say Persona 4 Dancing has one of the best ones. I fully admire the dedication that was put into like the motion capture and everything, and the song is very catchy, it's very upbeat, and it just sets you up for what's going to come. A tier.
Well, we're finally back to the depths of hell.
So, everything nice I had to say about Persona 4's dancing intro, like, even the song is, like, referential of, oh my god, it's been such a long time since we made a Persona 3 game, but what these games stand for really is why it makes me mad. But as an intro, it's completely fine. Like, I like the fact that for once, the investigation team aren't doing something that is, like, harrowing. And so, I think that this is, like, a high B tier.
I definitely do like the visuals. It's very colorful and beautiful, but in my opinion, when it comes to doing this with Persona 3, I don't know, man. So if we're looking at the context of it being an intro, it's a decent one. Like, I do like the song, it's really good. I'm listening to it pretty frequently. I also just really like how colorful the animations are between 3 and 5 dancing. This is easily the better one, so B tier.
Like, showing their original designs and then showing the new dancing designs is cool. This song is really bad.
It's shocking to me how they managed to release Persona 5 with like a banger soundtrack and then release this a year later. Like, what went wrong? Like, I get this game was probably rushed as hell.
This game would have benefited, like, if they could have released Persona 3 Dancing when they did, but if they would have given it 3 or 4 years, and released this after...
Look, it's Joker going through the freeway. What are you doing, Joker?
If they released this game after Strikers, there would have been so much more to work with. It would have been so much more in-depth.
It's definitely that mindset that, you know, you see, like, you got your first big success, so you want to, like, capitalize on that immediately. But this is an example of it absolutely blowing up in your face. They did not at least try to milk it a little more, gather more songs. They just went all in on, like, what they had.
What they're trying to do is they're trying to be like, look guys, remember Persona 5? And like, they try to have like leitmotifs. I know a lot about music theory, so when you listen to whatever and you hear Burn My Dread and it's a thing that's related to Persona 3, it's like, oh, that's a leitmotif because it's referential to a previous song or a previous intro. But Persona 5 Dancing tries to do that with the womp womp womp, but then they try to like change the way that it sounds and they try to fit that in and it sucks. And so overall, as a song, the composition is bad, the animation is bad, just everything about this intro. There's some parts that are good, don't get me wrong. Like, I like that they show the original designs and then they show the dancing design. I think that's cool. But beyond that, everything of this is bad. And the reason why is because the game was rushed. It's a bad game. In order to play Persona 3 and 5 Dancing in its entirety, you have to pay over like $160, and that's not okay. Anyways, yeah, so this is going in the D tier, bottom of D tier.
Again, I personally prefer Persona 3 Dancing. The music is not that good, and overall it just reeks of missed potential. Look at how many spin-offs we got now. They could have done a fantastic dancing game if they just waited a little longer, but nope. They wanted to profit off the game as soon as possible by making pretty much the laziest outcome of it. Yeah, so for all that, I'm going to give it my first D tier in this list.
Hell yeah, finally my favorite game of all time.
So they're trying to do the monochrome thing from Wake Up, Get Up, Get Out There, but this game came out after Royal.
Definitely feels like I'd argue that a lot of the team artistically behind Persona 5 was working on this game rather than Royal, which makes complete sense.
This is just Wake Up, Get Up, Get Out There, but an alternate, like, what version? Don't you guys love the Phantom Thieves? Are you guys not tired of the Phantom Thieves yet? Oh my god, we love the Phantom Thieves.
I love this intro so much. It's very action-packed, it holds the original style of Persona 5's, and works wonderfully in telling you that this is a completely new story with the Phantom Thieves. I'm very proud of what the artist team was able to do here, and the song is an absolute banger. Easy S tier for me.
At this point, I was already feeling, like, sick of the Phantom Thieves, because I wanted this game to be Arena. You gotta look at it on the perspective of that, like, we could have had a crossover between 3, 4, and 5 that was canon, or just 4 and 5, and we've had a conversation about this previously. And so, like, this Dynasty Warriors type game, as an intro, I like that it tries to hit the same beats as the original Wake Up, Get Up, Get Out There, and I think that Royal's intro would have benefited to do that, but it tried to go for more of a manga style. And so I'm putting this in C tier above Persona Q2 because I feel like it's on the same caliber.
Yes, the game that I am very well known for.
I like the revolutionist iconography. Yeah, it's not the Q style chibis. It's like a very different. It's a different take on the Q style chibis. This looks like a Nintendo spin-off, like how the Q games were because it's chibi, but it's on everything. Yeah, no, Tactica, I like its iconography. It's cool how like the game's intro is also very much so like linking to the theme of like revolt, revolution. It's cool. I don't think the song is amazing, but I have an appreciation for this game. This game's really underrated. No one cared about it because Reload was coming out. For me, I think it's like it goes above Strikers. It's hitting the same beats of where it's like it's not like amazing. I don't really like its song all too much, but its visuals, I can appreciate what it's trying to do.
Yeah, despite my many problems with this game, the intro itself, it's fine. I do like the whole revolution themes and aesthetic going on. I think the whole propaganda-ish look they're trying to go for is really unique. The song itself is fine. I listened to its full version and it's nothing that good, but it's also not that bad. I guess I'll give it a B tier. Oh my gosh, yeah, so for those unaware, this is actually Jessie's first time watching this intro. I remember seeing this intro. I didn't initially watch it, but I did hear it was really well loved. Like a lot of people loved it, and I gotta say, it's quickly grown on me. Like those visuals, damn, they go hard. It's absolute eye candy at its finest.
Okay, that goes hard. I like that. That's A tier. I'm putting that in A tier. Is this a new game or is this a spin-off of Persona 5? Because I don't know where to place this. I don't know anything about this game. I know that it's a gacha game, but for a gacha game, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool intro. Firstly, that like boom bam, boom bam, like that is like musically, it's a unique thing. It doesn't feel referential to Persona 5. It feels like a new spin on Persona 5. I like how it took the visual style of Wake Up, Get Out. There's something I really like about it. I don't think I can rate it as high. This is like, I don't want recency bias. I don't want this to be like, this is the new thing, this is cool, because like this is the first time I'm seeing it, but like I think visually it looks really cool. I like just how unique they made it while also being in the style of Persona and Persona 5. I like that a lot.
Yeah, like I said earlier, when I first saw this intro, I wasn't immediately hooked on it. I thought it was okay when I actually saw it for the first time, but then when I started like listening to the song and appreciating the visuals, it's amazing. The animation has this very low frame rate style that just really benefits it. It just makes it the most visually unique intro out of all of Persona 5's. Easy S tier for me. And that's about it. That's our complete tier list of all of the Persona openings. Comment down below what you think of these. Do you agree or disagree with any of these takes? Do you like any of these intros? Is there any other ranking you want to see in the future? Hope you guys enjoyed today's production, and this is Minty from Mintjoy Pictures.
Follow me on my channel, link down below. I hope Minty doesn't forget that, because if he doesn't, I'm gonna go uppercut him in the face.